Hey guys, welcome to my video. I'm gonna just create a video on how to create a quick basic website. So this is for absolute beginners. If you have no idea what a website is, joking a little bit, but essentially if you have just been starting out with HTML and CSS and you just want to quickly just create a website, I'll quickly go through it. So essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have this website be also published. So this is just a quick tutorial. We're probably gonna call this your first website. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go over what is a website. Okay, so inside your folder, inside a computer, it will access a folder, and in that folder, it will have files containing your website. So I am gonna go inside my projects. I have a lot of projects. Oof, too many projects. And then I am just going to create a new folder if I know where the option is. So we will call this first website. So there is a reason I am doing it like this. So because when I started web developing, I didn't understand the full context of what I was actually doing. So we have this folder, and now when we have this folder, we are going to create a new file. So unfortunately, it's not letting me create a specific file. Sorry, it's not letting me create a specific file, so that's fine. We're gonna have to open up an IDE. So real quick, we're going to open up where we were. So users, and then after users, we're gonna go into projects, and then into projects. So I'm just going to the folders. First website, cool. Yes. So the IDE isn't too important, but essentially we have in here the file. So I'm gonna create a file. We will call this file index.html, and then yeah, we have the file, interestingly enough. So if we just go h1, and I'll explain what h1 is in a minute, but if we just go h1 hello, and then we do a closing h1. So this might seem a bit confusing what I'm doing if you have no experience with code, but essentially I am just quickly creating a h1. I'm just quickly writing down a message. So we are going to need a browser to see what's going on here. So we've created an index.html. So what I'm going to quickly do is open this with the browser, and then let's open it. Now, very importantly, it is going through my computer. It is going to users. It is going to this specific user, which is me. It's going to my projects. Then in projects, it's going to first website, and then it goes to index.html. So every single time you are on the internet and you are loading up a website, it is at some level it's doing this. It's going on the server. It's then after it goes on the server, it then goes, okay, let's find the specific content that you're looking for, right? It finds it within folders, and in that folder there will be an index.html file, right? So when we talk about website development, right, or what a website is, or what the front end is, or what the back end is, right? The front end is a folder that we're accessing, and this is actually quite fitting when we think about it, in the sense that the whole point of HTML documents originally were for scientists to pass information to each other, so to send each other scientific journals. So we're gonna get a bit into actually writing some decent code. My IDE has picked up that is a HTML file, which is fine. So essentially, what we want to do is write down some HTML. Okay. So we want to put all of this inside a HTML tag. I'm not gonna go through all the inner workings of HTML. I hopefully I can do a separate video about that, but we can put a head here, and in the head we can add like a lot of different information, but in particularly what I want to do is just add a title, and then when we add a title, we're just gonna call this my first app. So we've added a title. Now here it just says index.html, sorry, index.html. When I refresh my first app, so every time we're refreshing, we're reopening the file. Okay, so this is quickly. Now I would suggest, if you want to learn more about HTML, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, show me that you guys like these kinds of videos, and I can go deeper into HTML. But for now, we can add things like the p tag, and then I don't know, let's steal a paragraph. Let's just steal a paragraph from online. Yeah, let's just add all of this stuff. And then yeah, can we close this with a p tag / yeah. Oh, sorry, closed, my bad. So then we refresh this again and it all appears. So I did say I'd explain what a H and a P tag is, but before I do that, let me just put this all inside the body, because that's usually where it would be. So yeah, let me put this inside the body. Sorry, it just kind of looks a bit wonky to me when it's not inside the body. So the h1 tag just means header 1, and what it really boils down to is it's the largest possible header. If you take a quick look and I change that, it's slightly smaller. It's a bit hard to see, not gonna lie. But yes, it's the largest possible header. P tag stands for paragraph, right? And I can go deeper and deeper into the roots of HTML, but we just want to get this done a bit quick. So we could now create a CSS class. So we will call this styles.css. So I will then link, and then I will then link my CSS. So I will ask the CSS to change something about the website. So I would want all the colors that are under a H tag to be, so the color of this to be red, and this should change the font color to red, except it's not going to work. So I'm going to refresh and it's not going to work. The reason why it's not going to work is because I'm not telling my HTML about the CSS folder, right? So that's why it's not working. It doesn't know. So what CSS it's a style for your HTML. So cascade styling sheet. It doesn't know that my HTML is essentially a program. I'm telling the computer, hey, do this for me. This is my program. And then when I write my CSS, I need to link it to my HTML. So the program knows, hey, I want you to do other things as well, right? I want you to display this in a certain way. But without further ado, we're just gonna get straight into that. Link. I will quickly have to look up how to link a CSS. Link CSS to HTML. We're just gonna go on the best website in the world. Oh, that is another way we could write down the CSS, but I wanted to link the file specifically. Here we are. That's how we link it. So it's okay to copy and paste code. I know what this code does, so I'm just gonna copy and paste it, and I cannot remember how to link a HTML and CSS. So now when I refresh, the color is red, if you can see it. To make things a bit bigger as well, we could maybe make the font, yep, it auto completes. We can make the font size to 50 pixels, save that, and look at that, that's even bigger. So let's just 1,000 pixels. Too big. Let's try to do oh nope, I didn't change it. Let's try to do 100 pixels instead. So yeah, it's a bit bigger. So it's very important, by the way. It will target all H tags. So if I have another H tag, which is a different one, we call it name, and then we refresh the page. It targets both H tags. If I really don't want something like that to happen, so what I did when I targeted the H tags is actually an anti-pattern. Most professional software developers will never do something like that. So if we want to target a specific area of the code, we would usually write a class or an ID. Some people argue you should write an ID because, well, IDs are easier to access. Some people argue that you should write a class because classes are more built for stuff like what we're doing right now, which is looking at a single one. So I should call my class something, and I should call it title. Maybe we will call it title. And then it's simple enough in the CSS. I just have to put a dot next to it. So we're going to actually dot title. So it's simple enough in the CSS. We then save it, and only one of these should be affected, which is the hello. So this one will stay the same, but this one will go back to the default settings in CSS. So there we go. So a key thing to understand about CSS and HTML is that all of this has default settings, right? So when we do not give it a specific HTML style, that is because it has a default setting, all right? And then the program will just follow. So the default settings are usually depend on your browser. They mostly stay the same, and yeah. So we're gonna quickly go into some JavaScript. So really quickly, we are going to have a script, and I am a bit of an expert in JavaScript. So we can link it. We can link our JavaScript, right? So we can link our JavaScript to another file, but it might be a bit easier if I just show you without linking it. But we can link our JavaScript to another file. So what is JavaScript? What is JavaScript? JavaScript is more of a dynamic language. We can use JavaScript to make a lot of manipulations to the page. It's very important that we do understand, though, something key about CSS and JavaScript is that a lot of these manipulations that we can do have been actually implemented in CSS. So a lot of people are actually told to learn JavaScript a bit later on and try to really harness all the key things in CSS. But me personally, I am more of I like programming languages or dynamic programming. I'm more of a back-end guy when it comes to programming, if I'm just going to be honest. So I like the idea of languages and being able to manipulate things. So what is a good example of, so if we put an ID here, and we put name, right, and we do something like document dot get element by ID. So we're getting it by an ID. The reason we're doing that, so the reason I put ID there is because ID can only be one. Class, you can have multiple classes, but you can only have one ID, right? So a lot of people who write their code in JavaScript prefer to only have IDs. That way we can actually grab the thing we want to grab without grabbing multiple other things. So we want to get element by ID. We want to say it is name. and that probably has to be inside a string format. Okay, so now that we have it, let's see what options that we have. What do we want to do? So we have the ID. Maybe we can just guess style. That's good. So how about we change the background color, right? Dot. Okay, so this grabs the background color, document by ID, and then I want to set it, or is it, okay, is equal to, and then we will do red, and then save, and then refresh, and then it's work. So with JavaScript we can manipulate the page. Now, I know what you're kind of thinking. Well, could we not just do that with the CSS? Yes, you're absolutely positively right. We could do that with the CSS. However, another use case we could actually, so there is a lot of overlap between JavaScript and CSS. But another thing we could do, so for example, we could set this to it's more and then save. Okay, so here is a key thing, right? And I want you to think specifically to when you use Facebook or whatever application. Have you never seen that it says hello and then your name? Okay, that you can't do with CSS, right? So we get, you will get the name from the server. You know, it will say Itamar is logged in, and it will look at Itamar's credentials specifically. We will get this from somewhere in the server, and then we will have this information. We can take this information, and then we can put it in our JavaScript, and then instead of it displaying name, we can have it display Itamar. That is the dynamic use of JavaScript. It can turn our website from something that's very impersonal to something that's very personal very quickly. So, of course, in 20 minutes, I could not cover the full depth. This is just a beginner's, step into JavaScript. Into creating your first website. This is just literally a beginner step. If you guys would like to see more content, or you'd like to see me look over certain subjects a bit more, please leave comments, like, and subscribe. I really enjoyed doing this. I did love to teach you guys more about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, tiny little secrets, going into the frameworks, helping you get a job. But one thing I will say is that these are the key building points, the key fundamentals that every programmer who wants to become a web developer needs. You need to understand these. You cannot skip any steps. You cannot skip CSS. You cannot skip HTML. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching my video. Thank you for sticking to the end. I wish you the best and have a nice day.